Call a meeting to order. Are there any Form A applications?
There are not.
Zoning Board of Appeals agenda, we didn't get one right. I didn't get mine.
Oh, I bet you didn't give it to me. Yeah, no.
Vacancy appointment to the Community Preservation Committee. Are you on that?
I would be the candidate.
What?
I would be the candidate.
Okay, and if any people want to make any other recommendations or continue to appoint Bruce?
I recommend Bruce, too.
Motion made.
So, Bruce, are you currently on the committee?
Well, here's the deal. I was on the committee as an at-large member, and I thought things were going to change this summer, so I resigned. So in order for me to get back on that committee, Jeff was the member representing the planning board, and he got off the thing. I'd like to stay on CPA, but for me to stay on there, I need to represent the planning board.
Okay. Jeff doesn't want to do it anymore?
No, my other obligations were making it impossible to
Okay,
be consistent enough.
fair enough.
Because at-large members, I think, are appointed by the selectmen.
Correct.
But if I voted to represent this board, you guys would vote me.
So
Motion's
Second.
made.
Jeff made a motion and seconded?
Yep.
Seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you, guys.
The minutes, I'm using the wrong agenda here somehow. Oh, way at the top, yep. Approval of the minutes of September 30th, which Bruce can handle that if you wish.
Sure. Yeah, that was the meeting that we had at the Abington Senior Center. It didn't last very long. It was, I think it was 13 minutes. So, second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
I abstained, obviously.
Yeah.
And on the minutes of October 16th,
Motion to approve?
Second.
seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
And I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Approval of the installation of a wooden guardrail along a section of Dossier Street.
Mr. Chairman, can we have 2 minutes just so that we can go over this? There's a lengthy email exchange that I'm just seeing for the first time, and I just want to,
On Dossier.
That's for something we're gonna talk about later.
oh, this is something else?
Yep, that's for,
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Cook and Belcher, okay.
yep, Cook
I'm
and
sorry.
Belcher.
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah. You should have had a letter from Attorney Riley dated September 29th in your packet about the guardrail. He's here tonight if you have any questions.
So just to be clear, the original plans that were approved 10 years ago? 13. When someone else owned it? Right. Required a guardrail on the east side of the road?
The column left and right.
Yeah.
The original plans actually show no guardrails on either side. Part of the subdivision approval letter, EMP had included a comment that guardrails should be put on both sides. That was back in 2007.
The thought being that there's wetlands on either side of that road?
There was, correct, there is, if you're entering the subdivision, there is wetlands on the right side. It was actually created wetlands, as I understand it, as part of Mr. Karafis's original approval process back in approximately 2004, 2005, I guess. I wasn't part of that, so I'm not really sure. On the left side of the road as you're entering is private property. There was an old fence along that side of the road. There's now a new fence along that side of the road. In any event, we've been trying, under the current owner, and now that the property is being developed, we've been basically trying to build according to the plan, and there's been issues where we've noted that either something was omitted or we have suggested some improvements to be made. And so we've, worked with John Stone, the DPW director, and had him come up a couple times to meet us. And this was one of the issues, was the guardrail. Where do you want the guardrail? Moving forward to today, as you enter the subdivision, that the sidewalk on that part of the street is only on the right side. So he suggested having the guardrail behind the sidewalk so that theoretically a kid in a bike couldn't, fall off the sidewalk and go down into, it's about a 2-foot drop to the wetlands. On the left side, there is no sidewalk. There's a grass strip and a fence. It does drop down, but there's a fence right there along the edge of the grass strip. So my letter confirms what Mr. Stone had directed us. The guardrail actually was just installed 2 days ago, there for inspection. And just as a further update, the roadway was going to be paved last Friday, but we had a freak snowstorm. And I'm waiting to hear, I believe they're gonna try to pave this Friday. And I'm waiting for confirmation on that.
Which road?
All of it, the whole
All of
subdivision.
them, okay.
Yeah.
And once that's done, everything will be, all the stormwater management pieces will be in place, and we'll stop having runoff and,
Right, they've
Those
been
things.
raising all of the catch basins and manholes over the last 3 weeks. And if you remember, we're also extending some new pavement a little bit further into the old portion of Dorsey Street. They hope to do all the paving in 1 day, but we're budgeting 2 days.
and which day is this happening?
It's not confirmed yet. It's SLT hires a subcontractor to do it, so the snowstorm kind of moves everyone's schedules around.
Yeah.
They were looking to do it this Thursday, Friday, but as luck would have it, Thursday is trash pickup day in that neighborhood, which would be impossible to pave with all the trash bins, so they likely would start it on Friday.
Okay.
Waiting for confirmation.
Weather's supposed to be nice, and.
Yeah, it's supposed to be great
Yeah.
weather-wise to do it, and we've been putting notices up in the neighborhood to let people know as we get more information.
Just out of curiosity, this area where, I guess, Chamberlain Street was supposed to be located, or at least was approved, there's a long stretch of woods, basically going both sides of the road, all the way west, almost towards Murphy Street.
Goes all the way to Murphy Street, yeah.
It's behind, I guess there's a retention basin out there as well. Who owns all that whole strip?
There's basically well, the roadway is a paper road, as you
Yeah.
noted. It was never constructed in, I don't know the history of this, but if you look on the 1951 plan, that roadway you're showing as Chamberlain Street was never constructed. But if you drive out to Dorsey Street today, if you come off of Route 139 and go up Dorsey Street, there's a small stub of a road on the left before you get to Crossley Street that has 2 houses there.
Yep.
And it's labeled, has a street sign, says Chamberlain Street. I don't know how that became Chamberlain Street back 40, 50 years ago, but that's what it is. The Chamberlain Street that was on the 1951 plan was just never constructed. To answer your question, who owns the land out there? Some of it is owned by the EMK Realty Trust, which are basically descendants of Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, who used to live on Crossley Street and own the property. And some of it is owned by Mr. and Mrs. LeBrun, who live on Crossley Street and have for a number of years.
Okay.
I don't anticipate that. It's almost impossible to build that paper street because the wetlands that were actually installed and created block access.
So I'm just looking at it again, because I wasn't on the board when this was approved. So the wooded area between the houses and the retention basin, it just stays woods, as woods?
It's private property. I mean, if
Okay.
someone wants to make their yard.
Oh, that's
bigger-
part of their backyards?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Do you mind, if you're asking, is there a possibility that'll be, built as a new road? There's, to my knowledge, there's no plan, desire, or frankly, I don't think it's economically feasible to build that road.
Okay.
My personal opinion, it's not fact. But otherwise, I just want to keep the board updated about the guardrail and how that has come to fruition, how that's being built, so that it'll be shown in the final as-built plan. Thank you.
Any objections to it going in the way of? No. Was Sean going to, on the Veterans Place?
You want to do that now?
Yeah, yeah, then he can get it.
Okay. So because, it was at Cookway, Belcher Way, and Crabtree, nobody ever forwarded any of that to the DPW director about the roadway acceptances, so I reached out to him a couple of weeks ago and said, I didn't know if anybody had reached out to you, but these are up to be accepted. Do you have any concerns? What you guys all have is an email exchange between he and I, he and Sean and I, what his issues were and how Sean and Steve Egan worked to get a resolution to all of that. So I just wanted the board to be aware that you don't really have to take any action tonight. But these things were not on the approved plan, and we're John's kind of asking for them at the last minute, and Steve has agreed to do them. So I just wanted the board to be updated before we get to town meeting.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're not going to paint the crosswalks per John's direction after looking at it. There are no sidewalks on that side of Plymouth Street, so there's no need for a crosswalk to connect anything. He said, don't bother doing the stop lines because we have the equipment, we usually do those. And I said, Steve doesn't object to that, we'll do that if you'd like to. It's, the highway department is crunched. So Steve's gonna put in the stop lines. They agreed, don't bother with the crosswalk lines. And, sorry, the DPW director noted some area of the pavement that had been damaged in it. We assume it had to be done recently because it wasn't part of PMP's report, so Steve has asked his roadway contractor to go out there and make whatever repair has to be made. And John's great with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was a couple little things that I saw, and I didn't know if those had been brought to his attention. As you go on Cook Way, I mean, this might be a private matter, but the driveway off to the right, that first house on Cook Way,
The first house on Cook Way,
off to the right,
on the right. Okay.
it's a really steep incline to get up that, not just incline, but just the hump to get out of the roadway onto the driveway. That's a really steep one. Maybe that's a private property, that's how he wanted it, but.
I'm not aware of it.
And then directly across from at the catch basin, I think is already tilting. I don't know if you'd seen that.
I haven't been up there personally. I don't know. I'll take a ride up there. I know Mr. Egan went up there today after we got John's, because we wanted to find out what that issue was with the pavement. They think somebody parked something on the street and did the damage, but we'll fix.
And then, is there supposed to be some sort of either caulking or filler between the granite sidewalk, granite curved pieces?
You mean between, as the
As
granite
they butt
butts up
is there
against
supposed to be
each
something
other?
in between them?
Usually, I think they're mortared, I
Yeah,
believe.
because there's several that aren't.
I'm
So
not a construction guy. I'd have to look at PMP's report. I don't know.
I thought there was supposed to be, I don't know if there was a reason why they wouldn't be, but I just thought I'd at least mention it, that there was several of those pieces that just butt up and it's just gaps.
Yeah.
There's no mortar.
No, I'll mention it. I know the road is teed up for acceptance, but Steve is local and he's followed up on pretty much everything that we've brought up. And to that end also, I'm going to put that in writing as we requested regarding Carriage Hill. We're going to try to reestablish a connection with the neighbors. Some of the neighbors' identities have changed. They sold some houses. We're going to try that again in the spring. Even if the road's already been accepted, Mr. Egan's agreed to that.
Thank you, Joe. All right, being the hour of 6:05, the continuation of public hearing, site plan and special permit 1410 Bedford Street, marijuana facility.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Walter Sullivan. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Green Harbor Dispensary. With me for the applicant is Nick Patel. Also, the property owner of 1410 Bedford Street is here, Mr. Mohammed Khan, and the project engineer, Paul Mirabito, is here. By way of process, since we were last here, we made some revisions subject to the comments of the board members and the town consultant. We revised the plan. It was reviewed, and we got some comments back from the town consultant, which we addressed again. And I have seen a letter from the town consultant dated today. It appears to me that we have addressed most, if not all, of their concerns. I think at this time, what would be appropriate would have Mr. Marabito take you through the minor revisions that were made to the plan. This plan is before you all now, and then we can answer or respond to any questions. Paul?
Mine doesn't do that. Okay, thank you. This is the site plan that we've made some very minor revisions to. What we did was, we went out to the site and we surveyed the location of the new vertical granite curbing within the layout of Route 18. This edge of pavement marks the actual edge of pavement for the travelway. This is the back of the sidewalk, which is also vertical granite curbing. In this colored area is a paved sidewalk, which the state has installed. They've also installed a 24-foot wide curb and opening in the same location we had on our site plan. If we do anything, we'll add one piece of transition stone here, although we don't need to do that because the opening is wider than 24 feet. But if we do apply for anything, it would simply be to add one piece of curb stone in that location. The other thing I did was we show vertical granite curbing along the edge of the drive for the building, and the sidewalk would be made out of bituminous concrete. The other things I added to the plan, I simply took off plans you've already had. For example, we showed the lights on the building. There's two in the front. There's one on the right side. There's another one on the right side, and there's three in the back by each of the doors. There's a door here and a door here in the back of the building. The lighting plan showed some lamp posts for the parking. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We also labeled this area here as a snow storage area. Other than that, we haven't added anything else to the plan. And again, those changes I went over were either based upon our survey we did about a month ago, and we've added the lights, and we added another sign here that were on plans you've already had, but we were asked to put them on our site plan so you could see it all on one plan. Other than that, we haven't changed anything. So with that, I'll end and be happy to answer questions you may have.
One thing that I was quite concerned about is having a vertical granite curbing from Helm Street into the site, and also, on both sides of the street. And then also to have a curbing that at least comes in a little ways on 18 on the other entrance that you have.
We've done 2 other projects recently in Abington, and we had the curved curbing. The state had us take them off and make it straight. Not much to our surprise.
It would still be straight, but what I'm saying to you is my problem is, particularly coming off Helm Street, I really think, I just don't know what that's going to look like without having a regular granite curbing on there, so people know the lane of travel. Go ahead.
Well, the reason we didn't put the vertical curbing in here, one is if they want to use this for snow storage in here, this is still a gravel area, which we aren't using, but if they need to use that for snow storage, it'd be hard to do if there's vertical curbing in this location. For the Cape Cod berm, they could simply go up and over it and plow the snow, but if this is vertical curbing in here, I think that's going to create a potential problem for people plowing snow within the layout of H. Elm Street. Here on the site, we have the vertical curbing. This is well defined. There's snow storage here, but again, if you had someone here, someone trying to push the snow this way is going to be in for a surprise if they don't know that curbing's there. So I mentioned to Dave that we use Cape Cod here and here and keep that vertical. He didn't have a problem with that. They don't have any curbing on this street as far as I know. We
I know they don't, but there's, I would think there'd be a fair amount of traffic coming in there for the facility, and I think it'd be a heck of a lot safer, if not on the left side, as I look at it, on the right side.
Closest to the
We
building?
can put some here. This is proposed landscaping.
Right.
So this would be obviously wouldn't plow there. You'd probably put it here, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it here.
I can understand where you're coming from on that.
You put it on the westerly side, but not the easterly side.
What would separate the landscaping along Helm Street from the newly paved area?
Would it? Yeah.
Is there any sort of treatment, any sort of curb, Cape Cod berm, or is it gonna be a straight transition to mulch and landscaping?
We just discussed it would be granite curbing on
All
what
the
you're
way,
talking about.
all the way around, curving around to the main driveway?
Right in here.
Yeah, is that gonna be?
Granite, that's what I just said, asked for, and seemed to agree with it.
Okay.
There wouldn't be on the other side, giving them a way to get in there. I'm not quite sure what snow plowing will do with the Cape Cod berm, but
Yeah, that's my concern, is with cars coming off that roadway 45 miles per hour, taking the right, just making sure they know where they're going. I don't want them to cut in between something, or just because it's a strange layout. So I just want to make sure that's really clearly delineated where the cars are supposed to be. Like, because the curb cut's going to be back a little bit from the edge of the pavement, it looks like. There's going to be like a small, I don't know, 2 or 3 foot gap, if I see that right. Am I seeing that right? Can I approach? I'm sorry.
But
So, this is where the curving ends, and that's where your paving would start. So there's this area right here.
Yeah.
That's where I'm concerned that someone come zooming down here, hits the, doesn't make the turn fast enough. Is there anything that can be done right there, that area right there?
He's got landscaping in here.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all landscape except for the building. This gravel is all landscape.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure was that this line here,
Yeah.
that's be granite curving, okay, so this is my concern right here, is again, it's to make sure people coming down off Route 18 go where they're supposed to.
What they could do is to put some curbing this way, from here to here, but put it on their property so it's not in the layout.
Yeah, something.
You could do that.
I mean, it could be a concrete flower bed or something, but I mean, just something visual so somebody can see it. And thank you for doing all the landscaping. I think this is gonna look really nice, especially the stuff in front of the building, because there's still, even after the sidewalk, the new sidewalk ends, you still have a couple feet worth of pavement or something there, correct? So it's sidewalk, pavement, and then your landscaping?
It's sidewalk, pavement, yep, and then landscaping.
Okay. I'm just curious as to why that pavement is going to be left there between the sidewalk and the building. I mean, it can be, it's there currently, but I'm just, is there a purpose for leaving that, is it for access or something else?
It's for access between, the other residence doors or our door, outside of that, pretty much that was mainly, that's what it was for, it's just
Okay.
more access between the two doors.
Okay. Did we get clarified that it's okay to have a residence attached to the building?
That's in the hands of town council right now, that question and the one about the building being in a portion of the roadway layout. I sent everything to her on Friday. I think she was waiting to get some additional information from the building inspector maybe, because nobody was in the building last week due to early voting,
Okay.
so.
Assuming that it's okay, I assume the resident wouldn't have access to the building through his side?
No.
Okay. There'll be some sort of, is it going to be a normal thickness wall, or is there extra security measures you have to put in place because of what it is?
You know, that will be determined when we do the construction documents, but we can, we'll definitely probably have extra security in between their space and our space. Pretty much what's happening is that building, currently is residents on the left side. It's remaining where it is. They had a little bit of sign workshop in the middle, so all we're doing is extending that wall between us a little bit to the left, and that's it internally.
Right.
Nothing done to the external part of the building. It's a pre-existing residential use. It's been there, mixed-use property for years.
Right.
There's been previous businesses operating on the right side for years, so.
I know Mr. Khan's a great guy. I wouldn't want him dropping in midnight, just, opening the side door and letting himself in.
I'm not sure, but the Cannabis Control Commission would have something to say about that also.
No, so we have another property out in Provincetown that's also a mixed, building, so we have residents on the long end.
Residents?
Yeah, residents, and they're fine with it.
And I believe that Liz actually made inquiries to CCC, and they sent it up to local zoning,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Khan is here to talk about the past historical use of the board thinks is relevant, but it has always been as residents. There's no intensification of the non-conforming use, it's just a continuation.
And we double checked that that property is in the overlay district? Okay.
Yep.
I thought so, but I just wanted to,
It is, and like I said, that's all, the use is, the Cannabis Control Commission, it doesn't have an issue with the resident piece of it. They said that's up to the town zoning. So I did reach out to Mr. Sullivan, and we're getting an opinion from town council on ours, as it relates to our zoning. So,
if we give approval this evening, what's your build-out time frame?
So, the next Cannabis Control Commission meeting will be, our license will be up, so we're anticipating approval this upcoming November meeting. So after that, we're looking to start, construction hopefully by mid to end of December. From there, it'll probably take about 4 or 5 months, barring no other issues happening. So we're trying to open by, given all the CCC inspections and things like that, we're really trying to open by spring around May of 2021.
Okay.
Through the chair, I just want to make one comment. It was good, one of the things we talked about earlier with the curb cuts and stuff like that. It's good to see MassDOT has progressed with the curb cuts and the sidewalks and stuff like that in that area, so, I go up that road, every day. They just check on the progress of it. It's good to see that.
We were anticipating that would be a condition.
What was the condition? I'm sorry.
As far as the curb cuts and stuff like that, I was remarking that that stretch of road has, been paved, and the sidewalks and the curb cuts and stuff like that would be, and that would be a condition of approval, would be, getting MassDOT approval for the curb cuts and stuff like that and layout. So if someone were to make a motion to approve that, that would be one of the conditions.
What other curb cuts do they need? Because I thought the curb's already in place. Isn't that what he said?
The opening is in place.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how is the Provincetown facility doing? Are there any lessons there that you're applying here?
It's under construction.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So we'll find out in about a month or two, but we have another facility that's been built out in Middleborough, so.
Middleborough?
Yeah,
Okay.
Middleborough, it's a medical one over there, but, no, we've had no issues with the town or the Cannabis Control Commission and how we've built our facilities.
Okay.
Maximum security and everything, so.
Okay. The only other condition that I'd prefer to have included, if it's okay with the board, is just for it to be noted for the long run that the parking lot needs to remain impervious. I would hate, 10, 15 years from now, when we're all off the board or something, that someone comes in and repaves it and just didn't know that condition existed or something.
The chair will still be on the board in 15.
He might.
Yeah, and that's in, under 2, under lighting and landscaping. It does mention that.
So what is outstanding? Just those 2 legal questions? Is that basically the only thing outstanding?
I think, I didn't get a chance to read Dave's letter. It came in after I left.
One of the things mentioned is lighting and landscaping. Comment, no site lighting is shown. Accordingly, we consider this comment has not been adequately addressed.
They did provide a lighting plan.
Jeff, here's your chance.
Well, they did
Yeah.
provide a lighting plan that he got, so I don't know why he's saying that, because there's no lighting except what's shown on this plan, the few areas that Mr. Mirabito added to it, but there was a separate lighting plan.
I just read this, I just wanted to make sure that this was mentioned,
Yep.
in the meeting, that,
I mean, you could obviously make any decision contingent upon,
This is what I'm addressing is, for the folks at home, is the letter of November 2nd from Norwood Engineering, from our consultant David Johnson, and under lighting and landscaping, as I said, Mr. Johnson made the comment that no site lighting has been shown. Accordingly, we consider this comment has not been adequately addressed. Is anyone from the, through the chair?
no, Steve.
No? Okay, all right, good, all right. Anyway.
Yeah,
that
there
was
were multiple sets of plans, and the one that went down today got emailed this morning, and Dave turned it around pretty quick.
Okay,
But I was out of the office by the time the letter came.
all right.
But it does appear to say that he's listing his comments in order of which the plan was received.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any comments from the public? Right, have any other questions? Have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion. Motion made.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. So a motion would be in order to refer to the letter from Norwood Engineering of November 2nd, 2020, and that the one thing we didn't, before I closed the hearing, we didn't determine the hours of delivery, but actually, it's in the letter, so that they would need to tell us what that is, but, and then to put in there, in addition to, just to reaffirm what's in the letter, is that it will be impervious parking material, despite the fact that it's already in the letter, not to say it should be, just to highlight it rather than say that we didn't have to mention everything else in the letter. And that
You're going to ask.
the vertical granite curbing from Route 18 onto the property, on Helm Street into the property, will be a vertical granite curbing set up on that side and not on the other side. The other side will be a Cape Cod berm to allow for snow plowing into the piling area for snow. And that there will be granite curbing as you enter from the sidewalk in for the first, until the curb radius is. Anything else?
And the response from town council?
And the response from town council as far as residential and, what was the other question?
It was the building and the roadway layout
Oh,
and the residential question.
And the building in the roadway, which probably won't be a problem, but it's existing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made. Who made the motion? And who seconded it?
Bob and Rick.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
You gotta do the special permit.
Special.
Please.
You have to do the special permit.
And the special permit, trying to find the wording in here. Is it in there?
And obviously, if conservation changes anything substantially, it's gotta be added to the plan. Right.
It's just a special permit for the use?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the hearing notice.
This is a special permit for the use, right?
Yep.
That'd be it. So just a special permit for the use as a marijuana site.
If it's okay with you, I'll use the language that was in the hearing notice
Right,
for the special permit.
good.
Make the motion to approve the special permit.
Motion made,
Second?
second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved, unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Is there any other business to come before the meeting?
There is not. Yes, just one more thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is,
Earlier today, the Board of Selectmen voted at a meeting to have town council take action on 662 Adams Street due to the complaints of the abutters. So we did receive a copy of a letter that was sent, actually served by the sheriff last Friday from Amy Questle at Copman and Page. And they have been ordered, on behalf of the selectmen, they have been ordered to cease and desist the existing commercial operation. They need to remove all the vehicles on the site. And then there's issues because it was a non-conforming single-family use, and it was being changed to a use consisting of truck and equipment storage. And she cites the bylaws that that's violating. So the pre-existing non-conforming residential use must cease, and site plan review must be undertaken by the planning board prior to the commencement of a new use.
That opened a can of worms.
Yeah, so as you've already commenced the new use without site plan review, you are hereby ordered to immediately remove all commercial vehicles and equipment from the property until a site plan approval from the planning board has been obtained. So,
What happens if they don't?
I assume at some point they will go to court to force them to do that. I'm not sure. This is their bailiwick. I did get a call from their architect guy or, it wasn't the engineer, because that's Sean Hardy. I think it was their architect guy, and he was confirming the filing deadlines. So I anticipate that'll be here next week. But just so you guys are aware, that's where that has escalated to on the side not related to you guys.
Yeah, that would be the enforcement.
Right,
It
it's
would
the
be, you have
enforcement
to
part.
take them to court if they don't.
The zoning board of appeals agenda, someone's applying for a sign and they're coming back in front of them. Do you know what business that is?
Where are they applying for a sign?
Someone's applying for a sign permit and they have to come back and apparently it's taken a couple of meetings. Do you know which business it is?
I think it's Barrett's.
Okay,
Did it say Bedford Street?
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's Barrett's.
okay,
And I forget why they had to come back.
okay. Just curious.
Anything further to come before the meeting? Being none, a motion to adjourn would be in order. Motion made,
I'll second.
seconded. All those in favor, say aye. So moved.